Hey, everybody. Today we're talking about a new year, a new you. We're going to talk about how you're going to prioritize you this year. I know it's cliche, but I also think it's fitting that less than a week before 2024 begins, we're going to talk about the new year, the year that's coming. And the reason I guess it's cliche is that it actually makes sense that at the end of a year, we reflect on the year we just had and we set some goals for the year that's coming, right? We do it at the end of the year. It's just when it happens. So I want to start with reflection. Let's start with how did the last year go? And I want you to think about this as far as how well you took care of you this year and give yourself a rating like 1 to 10. I want you to think about your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your mental health. What grade would you give yourself on how well you took care of yourself over the last year? I want you to remember that this isn't about judgment right now. This isn't the time to feel bad about all the things you could have done that you didn't do, or the things you half-assed that you could have full on done. It's really just to reflect on what the reality of 2023 was. What was it? No judgment, just what was it? Because you can never up-level or take your best self into the world going forward unless you're taking care of you. And you've got to have a realistic picture of how you're actually doing on that front if you're going to make any positive changes. As women, we struggle with this. I don't know many women who don't struggle with prioritizing themselves. Believe me, I also move myself to the bottom of the pile all of the time when stuff gets stressful, when I have too much to do. I need regular reminders from outside sources, like my hubby, or maybe a really good Instagram reel. I follow some pretty motivational people. And I need those reminders so that I can push myself up the ranks, so that I can rank higher in my priorities and my to-dos. And so I'm acting as that for you today. Here's your reminder, ladies. Bump yourself up. Now, I think if I reflect on last year, I'd give myself a solid 7. Right? Room for improvement, but not too bad. Consistency is where I tend to fail regularly, to be perfectly honest. I have great intentions and I set great goals and I make great plans. But I'll get going on something, a good self-care routine, and then I fall off the wagon. Things get busier than I expected. Someone gets sick, like me or a child, and I fall off the wagon. And then I find it hard to get back on. Anyone else? I think this is a pretty human experience. So I give myself a 7. And I like that. I feel pretty good about that. That's much better than it's been in some years past. So I am making progress. Now, I don't love the term New Year's resolution, only because most of us have this really bad taste in our mouth around that because we've tried to make so many of them and failed at so many of them. But I love goals. And I love setting goals because when we set goals and write things down, we actually do them. And one of my 2024 goals is to take better care of me. Because if I don't take good care of me, then I can't take good care of anybody else. And I have, so many things I want to do and so many things I'm excited about and so many things that are on the horizon for me that I know if I don't take care of this, all of this in every way, I won't be able to do any of it, right? And that doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it usually does really take some intention, some consistency, and some energy. And so we have to plan for that if we actually want to do that. So if you really want 2024 to be one of the best years yet, and I know you do. For me, every single year is better than the last these days, and I don't want that to stop. I want that to continue and continue and continue, and I just want every year to be better than the last one. It blows my mind continuously. And in order to do that, I've got to set some goals. And self-care has got to be up near the top of the list. So how do we set goals to make that happen? Well, I want to scream it from the rooftops, and I keep doing this, write them down, right? We have to write them down. We also have to tell someone else about them. You're way more likely to accomplish things when we write them down and we tell another human. I don't care who you tell, but tell another human being. And then thirdly, you really need to review them, meaning you don't set a goal, write it down and tell someone, and then never look at it again. So I challenge each and every one of you to write down 3 self-care goals for 2024. And sometimes when I say that, people think this has to be something huge or something life-changing or something that's going to be really difficult for you to implement. Not at all. But I do want you to think of those 3 things What's going to move the needle most for you? Where have you been neglecting yourself the most? Where have you been pushing yourself to the bottom of the pile when really you should be at the top? Or at least near the middle, ladies, like somewhere up there. Maybe you know you need more sleep. That's an easy one. And you've been neglecting it. So give yourself a minimum sleep goal for the year. That's a great self-care goal. We underestimate the importance of sleep. Maybe you've got a sugar addiction. Welcome to my club. I'm fighting this constantly. And you know it's getting the best of you, and you really want to focus on your physical health and being better to your body. I mean, doing something like taking in less sugar doesn't actually add any time to your day. Maybe you just need to move more. Maybe you just know you've got to up your physical activity. And that doesn't have to be something intense necessarily, but maybe you just commit to like 10 minutes of physical activity per day. That's really all you need. I mean, science shows that if we do 7 to 10 minutes of exercise every day, it can make massive impacts in how healthy we are. It doesn't have to be an hour-long workout 6 days a week, right? Maybe you have some inner work. Maybe you know that there's some work in somewhere deep inside that you really have to do, and you've been neglecting it, right? It feels icky, or you don't feel like you have time, or it just feels big. Maybe you just commit to something like journaling for 15 minutes every night before you go to bed, or any other time of day that works, to start working on processing your internal world. Only you know what you need. I'm just chucking some examples at you, but I want you to think about it. Think about what things you could do for you that are going to move the needle the most, and get excited about it. Tell someone else about it. Put a reminder in your calendar to review it like once a month and see how you're doing, because if you fell off the wagon, who cares? You can get back on. Failing at something once, twice, 10 times, 20 times doesn't mean anything's over. It just means you get the opportunity to try again. We don't get better at things unless we fail. It's just a part of life. And when I've managed to reframe this for myself, oh my gosh, everything is better. So think about this for you. You're worth it. It is worth your time and energy, your intention, to spend a few minutes thinking about you and what you're going to do for you in 2024. Yes, of course, we'll have goals that relate to our practice, or maybe to our relationship, or maybe to our kids. I mean, there's so many things, but I don't want you to forget about you. So that's why today is all about you. A new year, a new you. Put yourself near the top of the list, ladies, because you deserve it. You are worth it, and it can totally change your world. Nothing worthwhile happens by accident. It really doesn't. Take the time to have intention and make taking care of you a priority for this year. And I hope you are all having a magnificent holiday season. I hope you have big plans to ring in the new year with people that you love. And I will see you again. Bye-bye.